biggest South Asian media group, Y Media.
Y Media Group, established in 2001, is a media company with a 360-degree approach in reaching our audience over 5 platforms: television, radio, newspaper, online news portal, and mobile app.
Y Media has news.
Hello everyone, my name is Yudhij Swal. I'm the group editor at Y Media. As we all know, there are many things that has impacted the human life. There was a time when we didn't knew how to do agriculture. Then came the wheel, and of course, fast forward that, then came the plane. We could fly, and here we are with internet. Then came the social media and so many other changes. We could call it revolutionary changes, but now with artificial intelligence, we're in a day and age when artificial intelligence will definitely affect all of us in different ways. How does it affect us, especially the changing landscape of education and how artificial intelligence will play a role in that? It will play a role in almost all aspects of our lives, whether we talk about education, economy, business, everything. And to talk about this, we have 3 special guests here. We'd like to welcome, first of all, Mr. Yogesh from CK Stamp. Sir, a very warm welcome. How are you, sir?
Thank you. Thanks for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be by media. It's a beautiful platform for us to talk about. We'd love to talk about artificial intelligence today.
Thank you. Professor Lowe, a very warm welcome on Y Media. How are you?
Very good. It's wonderful to be able to meet your community through this.
Thank you. I was listening to your speech this evening, Professor Lowe. Very impressive. I like your ideology. It's great to have you here at Channel Y. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We also have Shefali ji from CK Stamp. Shefali ji, a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Yudhij ji. As Yogesh said, it's our pleasure, and we really appreciate the platform and the opportunity that has been given.
Thank you. Professor Lowe, why don't I start with you? Very briefly, for our viewers' benefit, if you could explain us what actually is artificial intelligence. I know everyone has their own definition, but I want to hear yours.
Wow, interesting. So I guess I would just go with artificial intelligence is something that's trying to do what humans do artificially. Okay? But now, of course, exactly how is this executed? There are lots of different algorithms that you use. I should say I am not the world's best expert on those algorithms. Those would be my colleagues at Carnegie Mellon University, where I'm a math professor. However, where I think about this is I come from a point of view as a coach. Actually, I was the national coach of the US Olympic math team for 10 years. And so where I'm thinking is, what do we need to do to help humans if there are new artificial ways to do what humans used to do?
Very nice.
Yeah,
and
I just would add to what
Sure.
Professor said. In simple terms, for the people who are new to the word of artificial intelligence, it's something that we can repeat regularly and is being converted into the automated process, because now the system can learn by behavior. And one of the examples is Siri or any voice recognition system. It automatically learn about you. So any repeatable process is becoming artificially, the system understands it. As soon as we sit in the car and tell their house is 20 minutes away. So that's artificial intelligence. And as time is passing, as systems or computers are becoming more powerful, there are more and more data processing is happening, and more processes which can be repeated. You know, it's still very hard to automate a process which cannot be repeated. And non-routine, we call it non-routine process. That includes some of the things we can do as human beings, and we are talking about the creativity is one of those aspects. Those are very hard to put it through artificial intelligence. So basically, we could think of it as our assistant, digital assistant, is here to help us to simplify our life, in a nutshell.
Okay, good. And I want your take too, please.
So my opinions are definitely artificial intelligence is here to help us make our life easy. But is that all what it is doing? Are there any challenges that we should be looking to, to mitigate, to prepare ourselves, our future generations? Those are some of the questions that we, as an adult, as a parent, as a responsible member of the community, need to ask ourselves, our government, our lawmakers, to make sure that the world stays safe while it's progressing with artificial intelligence.
All right. Professor, I hear so many different things. I know back in the day I was in India and they said, internet is coming, computers are coming, and computers will take away our job. if computers will do all the work, what would humans do? That was a thing. But now, fast forward that till today, India is one of the largest exporters of software industry. The computers have actually complemented. There's so many jobs created in the IT industry. And now the questions are also being raised about artificial intelligence. I want you to address that. How fair are these concerns?
Yeah, I think that everyone, of course, has different opinions about this. I look at it actually from the point of view of the economics. So I, of course, I come at things from mathematics perspective, but I also think of the whole thing in terms of economics. If you think about it, there's a lot of push to develop artificial intelligence, but why? If you think about the drivers, a lot of the drivers are because the people who invent the powerful artificial intelligence can make a lot of money. And so there's actually an economic driver to create tools that are actually capable of replacing people's jobs. What I'm explaining is that right now, a lot of the work that people are doing in artificial intelligence is to try to make an AI which is as close to a human as possible. Different people, of course, have different opinions on how soon this will come. But my point is, if you have very intelligent people running with the explicit goal of make artificial tools that can start to do a lot of people's work, well then that's a different challenge than computer. Because when the IT came, they were not trying to explicitly do what a human can do. But I mean, for example, when people are making all these chatbots and all of these things, the entire goal is to make it sound as close to a human as possible. So what I'm trying to say is, if the goalpost for a lot of this development, if the goalpost and the exact target is to do what a human can do, and then that's declared as victory, that's a different game than when people are trying to make computers to compute, but not with the goal of match a human's IQ. Do you see what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say it's a different situation here, where there are a lot of people who are explicitly trying to make this, because by the way, once they succeed, they can make a lot of money.
So the whole idea was in the internet revolution or the computer revolution, it was mainly to assist human beings, make their lives easier. Yes, that goal still says, but even further, as you were mentioning, that humans can, robots or any of these things, artificial intelligence can do the work what humans can do, and in certain cases, not certain cases, most of the cases, even far better. So that is my question here, that if artificial intelligence is deployed and they can do most of the things humans can do far better, so then do you think it's a threat for the jobs or threat for humanity as such? That's the question.
So that's why I've been running around giving these talks. But the way I see it is, everything can be turned into a tool.
Okay.
But the question is what the human does. What I'm saying is you cannot do business as usual. For example, a lot of the way that people learned before was they would learn by seeing an example of how something was done. Just as Yogesh said, they would learn how to do something repeatable. And unfortunately today, if you learn how to do something repeatable, you are just learning the skill that the AI has, which someday the boss will replace with the AI. On the other hand, one of the most useful things is to be able to solve new problems. Like tonight, we're doing this talk on live, right? We're doing a live conversation. This is fun. You know, this is an actual challenge. We have to figure out what are we going to do today and create some reality for all of the viewers right now.
Yeah.
But this is a fresh, exciting challenge, and we need to teach every young person that the fresh, exciting challenge is the thing to be running forward to, as opposed to being comfortable doing the thing that we've been doing every single day, day in, day out. That's not comfortable. That will be replaced by AI.
Yeah, I'll come to you, but you know the reason I am doing the live show, one of the, I'm just kidding, the reason for this is that yes, we could do or we could ask everything in the spur of the moment, so that robots cannot replace me because everything I'll be asking in that spur of moment. No, but I'm kidding. Yeah, live show, the reason we do that, it's more interactive and people love it. They can call, they can ask questions. That was one of the reasons for that. Yogesh, but I'll still move a little bit further. Thanks, Professor. He's explained it very well. But as the artificial intelligence progresses, do you think, because many are questioning, do you think it can go out of control? Because everything with computers or everything up until now was controlled by us.
Right.
So one of the things which I think the technology has brought, and we are not able to control that, in a way, we can ban it. We can ban TikTok, we can ban Facebook or Twitter or whatever, but you cannot control it. You cannot control social media.
Right.
So one of the things with artificial intelligence, I want to know, can it reach a point that artificial intelligence, the robots, because they'll have everything, they can emotions, cautiousness, everything.
Right.
So it could reach a stage where these robots or anything, they are beyond our control, and maybe we could even regret why did we even move in this direction. That's the question I want to address, please.
Right. So, I mean, apart from CKS, mainly I work in IT.
Right.
Mainly work with these systems about like building AI, and actually this is a day-to-day discussion, and we have passionate discussion about AI. So I think one of the things that I discuss with my team, and we are discussing about the artificial intelligence, is my personal view is it's going to make our life easier, right? I would, if this can write the code, let's say somebody is writing the code and it can write the code, then I would like my developers to get 4 hours off and enjoy, go to beach, do whatever fun thing you do. So I see my personal view on these thing is that it's going to simplify our life, and we should get some time back in our life. We don't need to work 24/7. We are not machine. Let machine do the machine's work. That's why artificial intelligence is important. Some of the work that something else can do, then let that do it, right? We develop the technology to the point that it's taking away the job we don't like to do anyway, right? And we do the job that we love to do. If I'm an artist, I love to paint. The computer can't do it. If I'm even as a coder, I want to write the logic. We discussed that one logic, we spend 5 days discussing that what is the right way to do it, how an artificial intelligence can understand. Because we are thinking about so many different aspects. Maybe someday in future, in 50 years, it will be possible. It's not possible in the near-term future. Near-term, what I see is going to give us the tools to make it comfortable. Now, another big question that you talked about, that this social media, is like kids are on it, people are on it. Social media also have a solution for it. Solution is that, if you look at these artificial intelligence can also tell you that you are overusing it, but we turn it off as a human being. So what we are doing as a human being, we are going through that transition phase. We are not able to understand the balance that we need to have, right? Same thing that could apply with the drugs and alcohol too. But people figured out what's the right way to use the alcohol in a social platform. You don't overdrink, right? So same thing with AI. It's just a matter of time when people start to use AI to help us find the balance in our life. So at the end of the day, I see this is going to be to help us. Because people who are building AI are the humans, and they have the humanity in them. They're not going to build, there will be some people who will do a human thing, but there are more good people than the bad people in the world. And that statistics really tells us that AI is only going to be good. I have the positive, hopeful thinking about it, and I feel this will be great for the future of our generation.
Yeah, you wanted to add, and then Professor, both of you, please go ahead.
I just wanted to add to address the question is, anything, if not controlled, if not balanced, can be a threat, not just artificial intelligence. So it is up to us, the humans, the adults of today, who understand that balance is the key. So this is a tool, this is a development that has taken years and will take more years, a lot of resources, to put it to make our lives simpler, easier, to assist humans so that we can have a high quality of life, but keeping balance.
You wanted to, Professor?
Yeah. So I think this is a very interesting topic. So I will say my biggest concern is right now not an AI taking over the world, but various people or various governments using the AI to take over and do what they want to do. Because actually, by the way, it's already happening. There are some countries in the world with different political systems where, in fact, the AI is being explicitly used to go and monitor everybody's conversations, monitor everybody's movements. We know this. Fortunately, not here. Fortunately, not in the United States of America. But that then becomes the importance of citizens participating in politics and government. So actually, the work that I do, when I see all of this stuff happening, what I said is, we need to build a network of very kind-hearted, brilliant, and electable people. This is actually what I'm working on. Build a huge network of brilliant, big-hearted, and electable and compelling people to go and lead populations into a better place. Because today, unfortunately, if you want to be a totalitarian society, it's becoming easier and easier and easier. In the past, you'd have to manually read all of the chat messages online. wow, in about 10 years, you will have a sentiment analysis and you'll know which citizens you need to eliminate. If you know what I mean, this is actually already happening in the world.
Yeah, I want you to elaborate a little bit more on that one. I was hearing your speech earlier in the day as well. You were talking about that is your mission. You want to connect people, like-minded people, and elected representatives with heart who could do good. And artificial intelligence without that heart, without that emotion, without the compassion, love, how do we connect all this? I want to hear that from you.
Yeah, sure. So this at first might seem very strange because I come from this mathematics world. I'm a math professor. I was coaching people on mathematics competitions.
Yeah.
But it's actually because I got to meet, I was the national coach for US for 10 years. Because I got to meet so many people who were super top at that skill, I started to think, wow, we really need that. Everyone who has this skill, the more skill you have, the more responsibility you have to use that skill to something that will be positive. And you have even more responsibility not to be used by someone else to achieve their goal. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
A person with very high technical skill can also be used by someone else to achieve a nefarious goal. So that's why what I work on now, actually, I'm building this network. But the way we're building this whole network is we're working with young people. We're working with middle school children and high school children. And we're having everyone meet each other while they're young. The model is actually very interesting. We are teaching middle school children how to be problem solvers.
Okay.
And the way that they learn how to be problem solvers is we have high school students who are brilliant problem solvers, but we're teaching the high school people communication skills by hiring professional actors and comedians to coach high school students on how to be charismatic while they coach middle schoolers on problem solving. But while doing this whole thing, we also are very careful. We're choosing the high schoolers who we screen through interviews to also have a very strong sense of social responsibility, because we're basically creating an entire group of people who are already screened for being very clever, screened for being very kind, and then we're teaching them how to be compelling, because these are leaders.
I want to go to Yogesh ji and Shefali ji, but I'm very tempted to ask one question. Screening for intelligence, I would want to know all of that, but why don't you answer this thing? How can you screen someone? Are they kind? Are they compassionate? That's what I want to know.
So the interesting thing is if you are looking at 15 and 16-year-olds who are already very strong in problem solving and mathematics, they're not very good at lying yet. What I mean by screening, okay, we're not perfect, right? But what I'm trying to say is, actually, we also, when I say screening, if somebody we feel hasn't yet figured out that people are really wonderful, we say come back next year, right? This is not like a one and done. Our model is very simple. We're going to teach people some skills. We want to see that when we talk to this person, they like people. You see what I mean? Like, there are some people who go through life where life is just a big contest. Beat as many people as you can, and they see another person as an obstacle. Okay. But there are other people where if you meet them in the street, you just see this person just kind of likes people, right? Likes not just about having a drink and having fun, but likes in the sense of they think that making other people happy is a good thing. So actually what I'm doing is I'm running around the world pushing two principles. The first principle is the way to be happy is to make other people happy. The more other people you make happy, the happier you get. Second principle is working hard on something meaningful is actually fun. And so we're just running around pushing these principles and seeing who bites, if that makes sense.
Where does success lie in all this? Because today, most of the people, they say, you know, it's all motivation, success, growth. So when we're talking about productivity, growth, all these things and success, but here you are as a math professor talking about, I love that idea, happiness and making other people happy. So where does success lie among all these?
This is actually very good. So the point is, in the past, people measured success based on how much money and stuff they got for themselves.
Okay.
This is a different definition of success. Success is defined by how much value have you created for other people. It's still a measurement, right? But it's no longer measuring it in a self-centered way. The reason why we're trying to promote this kind of philosophy is because actually you can still understand some people have huge success. Like the CK stamp, you have 8,000 people who participate in, is that what you said? Yep. They've impacted 8,000 people. My point is there is, and it's going to be more and more, but my point is that that is actually a success. But the reason that I was excited to do something with them is because they're motivated by helping other people. If all he did is get like tons of money for himself, I'd say forget it, you do your own thing, you do you, right? But my point is, in this world of AI, the reason why I think it's so important for the next generation to like other people is because if everyone does every man for himself, when the AI comes and eventually gets powerful enough, we're gone.
I want you to extend his thoughts and also touch upon a little bit what Professor Loh was talking about, education, artificial intelligence, and the moral values, the moralities he's talking about. Please go ahead.
Yeah, that's a very interesting and point, very close to my heart.
Okay.
Right, so close to my heart in the sense I'm in an IT industry doing amazingly well there, but I still love to work with the kids. And I have been teaching high school kids for some time. And one of the things I realized working with them, although it's like feels like teaching hard concepts and all that, that their baseline is already set, right? It's very hard to change. When I mean by baseline, that I started working with the grade 3 kids this year. Well, and it's the best thing every time I come out of these, working with these kids, I'm very happy. I genuinely enjoy working with them. So what is changing in this process is working with these younger kids, that first of all, they're realizing that they're like getting ready for the near future of AI. First of all, we need not look at everything from the point of view of success and failure. We need to measure it from the point of view of we are learning or not learning, right? And somebody comes here, I got everything correct. And I asked this question to somebody I was talking to, what did you learn in the process? Nothing. You knew. You can talk about that, I am so awesome. Well, but really, God has gifted you that talent, right? You are able to do something because God has gifted you, but you did not learn anything in the process. So you're changing the baseline with younger kids is saying that you need to be able to fail and understand the failure is okay and understand the failure is part of the learning. So first thing is just changing the baseline where your success, definition of success is not defined by what you achieve, but definition of success is, am I learning? I'm being part of it. Number one. Number two, with the social cause we have with like competitive kids is a non-profit. We're trying to involve these kids back into the system. Well, you got the help now, right? We help you where you are. Can you help back to the society? So that is the pipeline, and he's alluding towards the same thing is, first, when people like these little kids start to understand that my success came by somebody helping us, and the same thing I feel when I came to Canada, a lot of people supported me. And that makes me support a lot more people who are coming to Canada, right? So that cycle, that needs to be continued, and that's how we can deal with that AI kind of thing. First of all, we need to, there's something AI cannot do. If we have the good human being, they're not going to code the bad logic that does the bad thing. So we need to create a better society, which with better ethical system where we don't misuse these AI. Like it's being in place, but there are enough good people. I still believe those will take care of it. So I think this is where the key difference is, that if we change the definition of what we call a success and treat it as a learning experience, number one. Number two, understand that we reached where we reached because somebody helped us. Now, we are going to help others to reach. There's no competition that my success is better than your success, as we will get what destiny has given to us. We do our work, we put our hard work, and we help each other. So we want, I teach kids when I think that you don't want to be at the top and you're the only one at the top, right? You don't want to be at that kind of top, where you're alone. You want to be with the people who are clapping for you, and you're the one who are clapping for them. So that is the difference that we can make to the society.
Yeah, very nicely put. As you were mentioning, and before I go to Shefali ji, I think very interesting points for success. Just today I was thinking upon what is success. Success can lead to happiness, but mostly we define our success with others' parameters.
Correct.
So if we are defining our success with others' parameters, obviously it will lead towards desires.
Right.
If we define success with our own parameters, then it will lead to happiness. This is what I think. Shefali ji, your take in the education system, I want to know, artificial intelligence is coming. With social media, artificial intelligence, all these technological advancements coming. So how's the education landscape changing, and what do you hear from the kids, because you directly interact with so many people?
Absolutely. A great question, Yudhvir ji. It is changing. There is no denying the fact. Whether it's a teacher, whether it's a parent or a student itself, everybody realizes, and they all have their fears, and they're trying to use it to their strengths. So landscape has changed. When we were growing up, when I was growing up, and and many years ago, we would learn by memorizing things. We would learn by practicing things. We would learn by experimenting, you know. And
Right.
these are, we naturally learned to be problem solvers because we were doing things by our hand, physically doing them. And we involved everybody around us, as Yogesh said, like you are not at the top alone by yourself, you are with the people around you, and these are the people as you're growing. And right from the younger kids, and that's why CK STEM, Comparative Kids STEM, focuses so much on younger kids right now, because they are the people who are still growing and learning those values, their definitions of what's right, of morality, of to use. So coming back to the use of AI, every child after post-COVID is depending on internet, depending on computers. The art of writing has changed into art of typing, you know, and there were times when people had to learn typing speed, but now everybody by default learns that, and teachers are using ChatGPT SS, kids are using that to do their homework. Where is the honesty? Where is the authenticity? Because everything is done by somebody else, which is a tool. And that's why parents, teachers, students are not realizing, but parents and teachers are realizing, what is the learning? Is my child learning? So that's the biggest change, and that is why we need to use these tools which are going to be there, which are going to develop more and more, is how we can use them to assist us in education in doing things which are non-value added, which are routine, which are automated, whereas we teach the young generation to be problem solving, because that's one thing that the tool will not be able to use, because the tool can only move from point A to point B, but who defines the parameters of point A to point B is the child. And that is why focusing on younger kids is most important, because they are developing with the right set of values, of definition, of success, of happiness, of being the right problem solver, and getting this early on so that they can take on and be the right people who would shape this society in 10 to 15 years from now, where we fear the threat of, you know, AI exploding and being, there is tyranny, there is totalitarian society. That's where we want to equip and educate this young generation of today.
Oh, very nicely. Thank you. Thank you so much. Professor, I'll come back to you. I'll go back to artificial intelligence, but you mentioned maths as well, and CK STEM is also about so many good things I learned. So I want to ask you a very simple question. There could be some kids or youngsters, you know, they would want to know, how do you get better in maths? Is it someone who's born with that skill set, or this kid, you know, will be very good with maths, or you can develop that?
Oh, wow. I actually think that there's a lot of people who can become very good at math who thought that they were not good at math.
Okay.
Some people are frightened of it because of early traumatic experiences where they may have gotten negative feedback or whatnot. But actually, the main thing that makes a difference between someone who's very good at math and not good at math is whether they're able to think instead of only relying on memory. What I mean is, there are people who go through learning mathematics where you memorize. What's the area of a triangle? Half base times height. Why? Because it is half base times height. Okay, that one you can memorize. Then the next thing they memorize is how to solve some equation. Okay, then comes something called quadratic formula. Just memorize. So there are many people who will memorize, and then at some point in high school they meet a subject called trigonometry. Then there's an entire page full of formulas, and they try to memorize. Then the brain explodes. So what I mean is, there are other people who go about thinking, where you say, oh, right, why is this true? Oh, it's because of this. Actually, the way that we advocate teaching is the way we teach. So I run an online school. I also teach at the university. When I teach any class, I say, hi, here's what we're going to do today, but I forgot how to do it. I need the students to suggest ideas, and I want to be the cheerleader who gets you to solve it yourself. And then afterwards I say, oh, by the way, there's another trick. Let me show you a way I just remembered, another nice way to do it. But what I'm trying to emphasize is, you want the student to learn that if they see a problem they haven't seen before, fight, not give up. But a lot of people have difficulty with math because if they encounter that situation, they say, oh, I haven't learned. Or they say, oh, I forgot. That's impossible. I cannot remember everything. I don't remember every formula. In fact, sometimes I need to work it out.
Good. Since we're talking about artificial intelligence and education this today, I want to also know, Professor, and I'll take others' opinion as well. What I was talking in the evening today. We're all, stamped as if intelligent or not on one single criteria. As a kid, growing up in school, the system was very clear. Okay, how many marks have you got out of 100? If you got 33, you're just pass. You're not intelligent, you just got 33 marks. Okay, 50, okay, fine, we'll listen to you. 60 is first class, 70% is distinction, then 90, 95% you're a top, or you're really intelligent. But then this person could have just memorized everything, right? Did this person use any sort of intelligence or creativity, or actually just because this person got 90, 95? I don't know. I want to hear your opinion. What actually is intelligence then?
Wow. So actually, this entire topic of rating people against their same age people and looking at what percentile you are, that is an artifact of a world where there was insufficient educational resources. What I mean is, the reason why you were rating people is because 30, 40 years ago, your college experience, your college learnings are the last chance you have to really learn some new skill that you can go and use for your work. Today, if you want to learn something, internet, it even might be free, right? So what I'm saying is that actually it's no longer even that relevant how you directly compare with another kid who is within 12 months of age of you. What is more important is, do you have this drive, internal drive to keep learning? And do you have this interest in learning, right? Well, that's the same thing, but also this flexibility of thinking. So that's actually why what I'm doing is I'm pushing this philosophy of, look, if you just want to keep creating value for people, that provides a drive. Because that actually, people ask what success is. The thing I just said about try to create value for as many people as possible and work hard, a consequence of that is you will do very well in school. Because by the way, if you only play video games, you make exactly one person happy. Your score is 1. Okay. If you want to help 4 people, like a family, or 5 people, you need a job. If you want to help hundreds of people, if you want to impact thousands, if you want to impact hundreds of thousands of people, like what you guys, or maybe millions of people, that's what you guys do here, you need real skills. So what I'm trying to say is that drive to go and do something more and the ability to think flexibly, that is actually more important now than whether or not you, compared to the other people of your same age, are at what rank.
So then what defines, yeah, please, what defines, go ahead, sorry.
See, one of the criteria, that we are talking about, someone who is good to rate people, one thing that with Comparative Kids program that we started to create is, the age is just a number. Okay. Why? So why do we need to compare people based on which grade they are and have these? Well, if somebody very young is very interested in doing something, first of all, we need to provide that opportunity. That's the platform, right? So some of these educational systems prohibit in a way that you can't do this. There's the age factor on this. So if you want to do it, then you're doing it, and then because you are interested in something, and then you define, then you need to have a criteria to measure whether you should move forward or you should not. But there's a criteria is more around defining that. But it shouldn't be compared between the ages, right? That's the number one thing, is that the age comparison is what is the problem. Say that you're the same age group guy and you're comparing. Compare based on where the interest is. Are they succeeding in the interest they are really interested in? And that's why the Canadian Innovation Contest they created is not about math. The math is just one thing. We need to look at your creativity, art side of it. We need to look at the communication skill. We have debate. We have photography too. So we try. Important thing is when you look at the person, you got 33 in math, but you may be extremely creative person and running this Y-Media studio here. Yeah. Well, math doesn't define who you are. That's one of the many facets of our life. So this is where the assessment needs to change. I think this is what is going to happen in future with that AI advancement. Probably that age system will be scrapped. I'm not sure that's necessarily the best way to assess anybody. It's just if I'm interested and if am I progressing or not, if I'm succeeding or not. That's how I would think the system should work. Yeah,
I have a one-liner definition of intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is old word where intelligence equal to marks. Borrowing some math formulas here, right? Equation. I believe, because I've been teaching communication and I've been in that industry for more than 20 years now, intelligence is equal to your skills and your ability to realize those skills. And communication and diverse interests are a big key of it. So it is not marks that defines the bars for intelligence. It is your skills. You could be highly skilled, professor, politician, real estate agent. You could be, prime minister. You could be highly skilled. How are you able to realize those skills? Define your level of intelligence.
Very nice. And also I wanted to know that are intelligent people, as you just mentioned, skill set. So are intelligent people born or we can create them?
I think you can. I think you can create them. I will say, because I coach the national math team,
Okay.
I have met a few people who you say, "Wow, where did this person come from?" Right? But that's very rare. That might be one person every 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
The rest of the people somehow have figured out a way to actually think through things.
Okay.
So I think that, in fact, and also you can tell because sometimes they grew up in family environments where people are always discussing and thinking. Oh, you have something you want to add?
No, please.
Oh, yeah. Because I was just going to say, there's a lot of the culture that can be grown. And the thing is that there are just too many people who maybe think that it's what you're born with. And then if they don't have it, if they don't have it yet, they say, oh, it's what I'm born with, forget it. Actually, I was once at a talk where it was the Minister of Education or someone involved in education in Singapore. It was right after these PISA scores had been released, about probably 7 years ago, 8 years ago. PISA are these scores where you compare different education levels in different countries, and Singapore had done extremely well. And that person made an interesting comment. He said, some years ago, they told all the teachers, we must have a principle that every single student is capable of learning the mathematics. And once they had that model, the scores went up.
Yeah.
Just want to add to what Professor is saying. See, that, one criteria I feel is the most important is passion. If somebody finds the passion for whatever reason, right? And sometimes people find the reason because somebody died in my family because of cancer and I loved him so much. If person has the passion, everything start falling in place. Intelligence start falling in place. Because if I don't have something, I can equip that, find that missing knowledge in somebody else. And there's other resources you could fill it. So most important thing in anybody's life is finding that passion. Once anybody finds the passion, is basically, the sky is the limit. The intelligence start to appear. If that's not there, the passion is not there, the most intelligent people can't do much.
Very nice.
I have a liner to add here.
Please.
Intelligence is not always born. There are geniuses who have the talent that they are born with, but the opportunity, the ability to provide that platform, which Professor Lowe is doing with his, which Yogesh is doing with Comparative Kids STEM, is providing the opportunity, the exposure to the people who are intelligent, who have that talent in them, but are not able to bring it to their best because they are deprived of those opportunities. And one thing I'm going to borrow from Yogesh here, this is his definition while we are talking about intelligence. Success, intelligence is your talent multiplied by your core values. So,
Can you repeat that again? Very, very nice.
Sure. Success is your talent multiplied by your core values.
Very nice.
If you have talent, you are born with the talent, but you don't work hard, you don't practice enough, or you don't try to learn things constantly, your output is going to be divided by half because you're not doing that. Whereas someone who doesn't have that inborn genius in them, but is working twice the harder, is trying to get as much practice, experiment, the net result could be much higher. So for all the parents and all the kids who are listening or would probably listen to this in the future, please redefine or define your success definition the right way. Success is talent multiplied by core values.
I want to highlight more about the core values. I like this thing very much. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And
please.
this is borrowed from Yogesh,
Oh,
so he's
okay.
the right person.
Well, he was coaching. This is an interesting, very interesting thought because there was, I started coaching one of the robotics team a few years ago, just before the COVID. And after that, COVID killed a lot of things. And I was coaching them, and I was talking to these little kids, you know, we were fighting, like going for the competition. And that's the article I wrote. And I actually, mathematically, I proved them, and I had a real conversation that, well, your talent is, you can't change talent. It's, in a way, it's, sometimes you could say that it is what it is. You're part of the team, you have a talent, you have it, but the values that you bring in, core values, that's hard work, the teamwork, innovation, these really differentiate how you are going to beat somebody else, you know, if you are going to beat. So this is a very interesting, you know, like, I strongly believe in it. I keep writing to the people I interact with is, core values is what we need to focus on, because talent is not, you can't really do much about that.
Yeah. Professor, I also want to ask you, people talk about, you know, core values, moralities, and how important it is, our moral values, our core values for our success.
Oh my gosh, I mean, that's where I focus. So I should say, I'm also a parent. We have 3 kids. Our kids are 10 years old, 15 years old, and 17 years old. So we also think about what do we tell our own kids, right? And in fact, whenever we talk to our own kids, we've told them, we're not going to focus on the grades, the money you earn, the university you go to, the job you get. The thing we care about is, did you get the principles? There are 2 principles. The first one is the way to be happy is by making other people happy. The more other people you make happy, the better you feel. Second one is hard work is fun. And by the way, if we saw that our kids were doing things that were not very nice to other people, I would even go and tell them, you know, if you're going to keep acting this way, you should stop learning math completely. You should stop learning computer science completely. A person who behaves like this to other people should be as stupid as possible. I'll say this, and we sit down and we start to think ethics. We start to think, what is the purpose of a person? It's because I worked with so many people who are highly capable, and I just don't think that it's good for the world to have highly capable people who aren't trying to use their gifts, or I don't like the word gifts, but use the skills to go and create some value. So now what we are doing is we have that opinion with our own kids. Okay, that's the number one thing. And by the way, if once the kids understand that, they work hard, because that's the only way to impact lots of people. You actually innately work hard. But secondly, that's why I'm running around the whole world spreading this message, because if our society picks up more people with this, I mean, there's a practical thing I want to say here, because sometimes people say, okay, this is like a religion now. Why believe this thing, right? How is it any good for you? Maybe you just lose if you help other people. Well, that's why I network people. That's why I'm connecting a network of people together. Actually, if there's a community of people who all mutually support each other and do things that help other people and create as much value as possible, that network is more powerful than independent people fending for themselves. So then there's actually an incentive, join the network. Now you don't have to believe it. It's just if you can get, that's also a tip I told all the people today. I said the easiest way to make sure you always have a job is make sure you have lots and lots of friends who know you as someone who has created tons of value. If you ever need a job and you have those kinds of friends, you call them up and then you will find another job. But you see, the whole point is it's about a network. I'm trying to say there's actually innate value in a network of people who consider that you have created a lot of value for them. It's a different way of going through life.
Very nice. And since you're in the education business, there's a lot of discussion always, what's the purpose of education basically? So I'll start with you. What is the purpose of education?
You know, in very basic terms, is when somebody is born, they don't know anything. So the idea is, you know, I believe that, and I discuss passionately about it. Every kid, when he's born, he's Harvard ready. He's ready to go to Harvard. It's everything around him that decide whether he goes or not, right? So the education system, role of education system is to prepare these kids for the future, right? To prepare in the sense that they should be able to number one, they should be able to survive themselves. And number two, they need to coexist with other people. And while they're coexisting, they create the joint value. He's saying that they're creating a society which is happy and they're celebrating each other's success. That's the core part of the education system, is to get people to the place where, you know, you leave, you know, the bird, you like help them fly, and then once they fly, you leave them alone, and because they're going to figure out, they have newer generation bring newer ideas, newer things. So the role of education is to take a bird who is just born and teach them how to fly, and just leave them alone and see that you figure it out what you want to do.
Professor, what's the purpose of education?
Ooh, so I work on education because I see education as the way that civilization propagates civilizational values. And actually, that's the way I think about this. And I also will say, there's even a way you can understand other people see it this way too. So I travel a lot around the world, and in mainland China, I've learned that in mainland China, there are a few regulated industries. One is media, one is education. You know why they regulate education? It's because education is propagation of core values. This is actually extremely powerful. I should say my family is actually from Singapore, so I have no relatives in mainland China. I go through mainland China as a curious observer, right? But I noticed that the Chinese government saw the power of education as a civilizational propagation tool. So actually, if you look at what I'm doing, yes, I'm teaching some math, but what exactly am I doing? I have middle school students learning problem solving from high school students who I've picked to be, not I, but our team has picked to be brilliant, kind, and communicative. We're using peer pressure to propagate certain core values that we care about from one level to another. Because the way I see education is, if we have a different vision of what we could bring this world to, education is actually the infrastructure that you can use to change the entire world. It's not, when I do education, I'm not interested in thinking, how do I help this person get into this university? I'm not thinking of how to help them get this job. What I'm thinking about is, what is a person supposed to be in a new day and age where artificial intelligences, where Instagram filters, where deep fake videos blur the reality between human and fake, right? So the way I see it is, actually all of us who work in education, we have this wonderful ability that we're working with actually the people who are the future. And then so what I always think about is, how do you use this as an infrastructure? Yeah, I teach math, but math for me is the vehicle. Everyone needs math. So because they all need math, we have the opportunity to actually show kids wonderful examples of what a person can become, to inspire, and to hopefully then build a whole generation of people all linked together who can do something about this future.
I wish we had more time, but if I can squeeze in one last question and then we got to wrap up. But I wish we had more time with you, three wonderful people. Shivali, I'll start this question with you, and I'm going to touch upon a little bit with all our guests today. Social media. I see some school boards now, they file lawsuits against these social media giants. So how, I mean, education, education has been impacted, or social media. So, but these education boards now filing lawsuit, that speaks a lot. So what's your take, this social media, how has it impacted our education landscape? Is for better, for worse? Please.
It has had a deep impact. Okay. And the lawsuit was filed just a few weeks back, and there were many boards from Toronto and other areas as well that came together and filed a lawsuit against this. Going back to what I had earlier said, it's all about the balance. Are these social media giants regulated? Who's controlling them? Is it a few people, the owners of these giants, that are making the money, and all the younger generation is impacted? So the school boards that have filed these lawsuits, I think the efforts are to understand, to strike the right balance. So yes, when they first came, they were definitely beneficial because everybody was having entertainment, everybody was able to relax, stress-free, there were some educational concepts as well. But to let it grow unprecedentedly without any controls, without any balance, anything, not just social media for that matter, can lead to disasters. So the key is to find the right balance.
UVG, is it even, are we going to even control, or you think the genie is already out of the bottle, and because the governments have tried from Australia to US to Canada, the governments have, I won't say failed, but it's been very difficult for the governments to challenge these big social media giants. And we're talking about education, we're talking about school boards, we're talking about kids. Please.
You know, the day that lawsuit was filed, interestingly, I was with Rachel, who is the chair of the TDSP. And I had a long talk with her, and she said, I had 18 interviews on this topic. So I was talking to her about this. First of all, I mean, personal belief that, well, these things are harmful for, not just for kids, it's underestimating the impact it's having on the entire humanity, right? The adults are more into it than actually the kids are. We just don't want to say it, but it's the reality of the day. Now, these social media companies need to take the responsibility. I think what is happening is they're giving free. The free is very dangerous, but nothing is free in the world. They're using your behavior to and making money on it, right? They're not free. They're making lots of money. They're a rich company. Well, if this is free, how are they making money? So we are giving them the data, and they're using our data to make their money. Now, it should be a social responsibility, and these are the ethical, board needs to come, right? Like we have the police to control, the traffic police, this police. We have the rules, but this whole IT and this AI, it doesn't have anything right now. But it is bound to happen. There bound to be that, this ethical control, or is it some kind of governance which is going to control it. It has to happen. There's no way this can continue like this. It is out, it is out, but society need to continue, then it has to stop. It has to have some controls over it. It cannot be uncontrolled. So some of these things needs to be tamed to the point that, we of course there is value in social media. We can't, say there is zero value, but there has to be in the school time maybe. There are a lot of controls that can be put in place so that, like work while you work, play while you play. That's the philosophy that we need to do, and we need to, these tools should be done in a way that let students work while they work. Let them play while they play. And then you have fun with these tools. So that's my thought, right? There has to be control. There has to be governance around.
Yeah. Do you even think, Professor, that yes, social media has a harmful effect? Because we're seeing many reports coming out, of course in adults as well, but especially in teenagers, questions regarding stress, anxiety, depression, loneliness, so many other things, and how social media has impacted our education system, our teenagers, and can we really do something about it, please?
Right, so this is going to be an interesting answer because I'm actually building a social media platform right now.
Okay.
So this is, I'll tell you about it, but it's being architected in a very unusual way. And the huge difference between what I'm doing and everyone you just described is all the others are companies which have one purpose only, which is to make money. There is no way to regulate an American corporation and say, go and have an ethical, you know what I mean? Like you can try to pass whatever laws you can, but once there are laws, the company gets lawyers to go figure out how you get around the laws, to go back to the real goal, which was to make the money, okay? So I want to emphasize, the point is the social media itself, there are fundamental values there, but the point is the platforms are not designed to optimize for those values. The platforms are designed to optimize for making money. So that's why I'm making my own. I'll tell you why I'm making my own. Because right now, I view network as very important. You see, everything I've been saying is introducing people to other people. I have kids. I want my kids to meet other people who are also hopefully have good values of creating value for other people and also want to work hard and want to learn things. I want to build a social media network all around this. So now, actually, I can just describe what we're making. We're making something that is filling a niche. Because right now, in America, if you're under 13, you're not supposed to join any social media networks. The kids do anyway, they lie about their age. And then the social media companies kind of turn a blind eye and let them go. But what I'm doing explicitly is I want to go and find all these middle schoolers who want to push themselves hard on something valuable. Just like all the events you hold, the value is get kids to meet other kids in a positive environment. But then what we're doing with this, actually we're having a platform, it has likes also, but our likes are weird. The way that our platform works actually is all designed around a game. We're even using ideas that kids like to play online games, right? So we're making an online game to play math. But your score in the online game is not how good you are at math. The score is how many of these did you get from someone else when they said you helped them learn something. So we are actually trying to use this to promote a cultural value, which is called, if you help other people, you get this. Not just if you say a joke. If you help other people, then you get something. I'm actually trying to use the social network to instill a value in the entire next generation called, the more people you help, the more of these you get. You remember I told you my core principle, right? I'm building a platform where your score is exactly that first principle.
Beautiful, wonderful. Wish we had more time, but thank you so much, Yogesh ji. Thank you for coming us. Thank you, CK-STEM. Professor, pleasure meeting you. I wish you all the best. Vali ji, thank you so much. And I'd like to thank both of you for introducing me to the professor and you guys at CK-STEM to an amazing events. We will be covering today's event and all other events on Y Media as well. So thank you so much once again. Thank you to all.
Thank you goes to you. You first of all, you see the value in what we are trying to do. And I think one of our goal is also very specific to the community that you are in. We want to definitely help this community. So we see the imbalance. I was talking, this evening. So we need a country can sustain when there is a balanced community. And when it comes to education, we see a lot of imbalance. And that's the idea that doesn't let me sleep. We want to help the community. We want to bring not necessarily the competition part of it, we competitive, yes, but bring their passion, right? Let kids identify their passion, give them the opportunity so they can just do what they want to do. So thank you so much for giving us the platform to talk about these things.
Thank you, Yogesh. Thank you. Carry on the good work. Professor, thank you so much once again. Shivali, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. That's all for tonight. Stay tuned with Y Media. Thank you.
Hi, this is Priyanka Chopra and you're watching Channel Y.